If you're looking to sell your home without an agent, here's a step-by-step process on how to get your home sold. I'm Cassie Luchin with Coppermine Realty, and here are some helpful tips and tricks on how to do a for sale by owner. Okay, so step number 1, setting the price. Okay, so in order to set the price, you're going to want to pull most recent comps. You're going to want these comps to be within the last 6 months, and I'm going to explain a little bit more later. It has to do with the appraisal value. You're going to want to pull comps within about a half-mile radius from your property and something with similar square footage. You're going to really want ideally 3 to 4 comps to support the value that you're setting for your home. Now, if these other properties have more upgraded features, then you need to tick your sales price down. If your property has more upgraded features, you want to tick your sales price up. This is going to be the best way to set the best valuation for your comp. Now remember, you need to set the right price, because if you're not compelling, you're not selling. Step 2. Okay, so for step 2, now you're going to move on to staging, photos, videos, and a 3D tour. The first thing you want to do is you want to hire a professional stager to come through your home and give you tips and tricks on how to make your house show in the best possible light. This is very, very important. So a stager, even I, who's a real estate agent who's been in this business for 10 years, I still hire a professional stager for all of my listings because they have an artistic eye to make sure that they're seeing the way the camera is going to see the room and make sure that they're showing the best qualities of the house. Sometimes we can get bogged down in the numbers and not pay attention to those special features, which the buyers want to see. This is all for making sure that you sell your home for the best possible price. So hire a professional stager, number 1. Number 2, photos, videos, and 3D tour. So you can go ahead and you can take the photos yourself if you so choose. Again, I'm going to highly recommend that you hire a professional real estate photographer. I'm not talking about somebody who maybe does family portraits. You want to work with somebody who, for a living, they take pictures of real estate. And it's important because, again, just like the stager, they're going to make sure that the house is showing the way that it should online. The majority of home buyers are looking online. So the photos, the staging, this is all vital to your success in selling your home for the most amount of money. The last thing I really want you to consider doing is hiring that photographer possibly also does something called a 3D Matterport tour. This is so incredibly helpful to make sure that you're drawing the buyers in and they can even tour your home without actually coming to the front door. That's not to say you don't still want them to also come to the front door, but you want to cast your line out there and you want to definitely reel them in, and you want them to prefer your home over all of the other homes, whether it's online or in person, and ideally both. Step 3, online exposure. Okay, so now you've taken the photos of your home, now we need to market the house online. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're going online and you're posting your house on all of the most popular websites. Now, as a realtor, we have access to the MLS, which syndicates out to all of the most popular websites. But I'm sure that you're going to find success in going online, doing a little digging, and figuring out how to get onto those websites. So that's one thing that's really important because, again, the buyers are online and we want to make sure we're covering all of our bases on any site that they could potentially be using to shop for homes. So the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're giving a really meaty description online. So once the buyers click through the photos, they start to fall in love. Now they're going to go through and they're going to read the description. These are things that you really want to focus on that maybe the photos couldn't capture. So things like maybe your lot, maybe it backs to parkland, or you're close to major access roads for easy commuting. Maybe you're close to public transportation. These are the things that you want to make sure you're beefing up your description in order to capture the most amount of buyers. And again, cast that line and reel them in. Don't forget, you're still going to want to offer a buyer's agent compensation. So most times when you want to sell for sale by owner, you're doing it because you want to lower the commission rate and keep the money in your pocket. Totally understandable. But a buyer's agent still is typically paid through the seller. So you want to make sure that when you're putting your listing out there that you're offering a buyer agent compensation. Standard buyer agent compensation is anywhere between 2 and 3%. Typically, I recommend that you don't offer a compensation under 2.5%. So this is really, really important because if you're not offering a buyer agent compensation, the buyers may come to the table, and if they have to pay out of pocket and they don't have all of those funds available, it's ultimately going to come out of your sales price anyway with lower offers. So definitely make sure that you're offering that compensation. Step 4, open houses. Okay, so you're moving right along. You got your house ready, you got the photos taken, and you have it online. Next step, you need to get the people in the door. What I recommend that you do is you wait until later in the week, you list it late in the week, and then you have an open house on a Saturday or a Sunday and allow a maximum number of showings during that time, because you'll be prepared for it anyway, rather than having people coming in and out and constantly having to leave your home. So that's what I'm going to recommend. Now, how do you prepare for the open house? First and foremost, you want to make sure that you're going to go ahead and you're going to buy signs. I'm going to recommend that you get at least 10 directional open house signs. And I can also offer you a company so you can order custom signs if you prefer. Another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want a sign in your front yard. Did you know that 15% of buyers come from your friends, relatives, and neighbors? And a lot of times it's because they've seen that sign. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you invest a little bit of money in your marketing and have that sign in your front yard. Oh, one more thing I almost forgot. When you have your open house, you want to make sure that you've printed a professional brochure. This is so that when folks are coming through, that they're keeping your house top of mind and they're recalling all of the wonderful things about your property. So whether you replaced the roof, the HVAC, you updated the kitchen, what years you did that, so when they're walking through, they can see those things and like, oh, little nuggets of gold that, again, cast in that line. Step 5, social media marketing. Okay, so now you want to take your advertising a bit farther. You want to make sure that you're taking those photos, those videos, and that tour, and you're going on mostly Facebook and Instagram, and you're listing all of that beautiful information about your property, and you're pushing it farther into more eyes and hands of more buyers. You also potentially, so Facebook and Instagram, you can use whatever account that you already have. Your personal is certainly going to be very helpful. But I also recommend that you create a business page, because once you have a business page, you can put your advertising dollars behind your posts, you can boost them and push it even farther. This is really, really important because, again, maximizing exposure is going to maximize the number of people coming to your house, which will ideally maximize your profit. Just a quick little note. Now that you're listed, you're going to be fielding a lot of calls. Unfortunately, when you do sell for sale by owner, a lot of those calls are going to be other agents trying to get in the door in order to list your house. They're going to want to take the listing from you so that they can get paid as a listing agent. So in these cases, they might tell you that they have a buyer. If it's true, that's awesome. Definitely have them come over, show the buyer the house, and hopefully write an offer. But a lot of times that's not going to be the case. The agent's going to want to come over without their buyer, and they're going to want to try to win your affections and win your listing. So you want to be prepared for that. It's going to be a lot of field and calls, but you have to answer your phone, because along with those agents trying to win the listing, there's also going to be buyers who genuinely want to buy the house, and you can't miss that opportunity. You have to field all of those calls in order to make sure that, again, you're maximizing exposure. They're gonna wanna come inside the house, so you gotta answer your phone. Step number 6, showings. Okay, so like I mentioned before, a good way to get around people coming and going at all these various different times is by hosting the open house and having just open time period when everybody can come into the house and go through. So that's a good way to limit the number of showings. Now, what you do want to do during the open house is you want to make sure that as people are coming in, you're getting the buyer's contact information or their agent's contact information if that's the way that they're working, if they're working with a buyer's agent. Because what you need to do after you have these showings is you need to follow up in order to get feedback. Feedback is very, very important, and I'm going to warn you not to get emotional if you do get negative feedback. Negative feedback is a very positive thing when you're selling your house, because those are typically things that you can fix. And if they're not, then you get the feedback and you know whether you have to adjust that price. Remember, compelling is selling, so that's really, really important information. But other than the open house and getting the feedback and getting everybody to sign in and following up, you're also going to end up having other various showings during various times. This is a positive thing. I know it can be a pain in the bum, but you need to get the people in the door, so you have to try to be flexible. Now, when they schedule showings, you're going to have to answer your call, and you're going to want to make sure that you have some sort of scheduling book to keep track of everything. You can also hire a professional company to help you manage the showings, but that can get a bit pricey, so you might just want to try and do it on your own because you're trying to save your money after all. I think that's it for showings, but I'm always here to help answer any other questions if you have any concerns about how to manage it all during this step. Okay, step number 7. You did it, you sold the house, it's time for the offers, yay! Not quite. Now it's time to negotiate. So you listed the house, you marketed it successfully, and you received your offers. You have to wade through the offers, you have to wade through the different data. Within the offers, you have to decide which one's best for you, and potentially you're going to have to negotiate in order to secure the best possible terms and to make sure you're not getting the wool pulled over your eyes. So the 2 things that I'm going to recommend that you do now is to brush up on the local market. You're going to want to really understand how those houses are selling, what the standard terms are that you're seeing in contracts, like what's the average EMD that's coming in, how fast are people settling, what are the loans doing, is there anything happening in the loan programs that are going to potentially affect your settlement date. So these are all really, really important things. You really, really want to do your research so that you're securing the best possible contract for you. On that note, you have to keep in mind that this sales contract is a legal binding document. Therefore, I'm going to recommend that you hire a real estate attorney to help you go through your offer before you sign it. This is really important because it is a legal binding document. You do not want to open yourself up to potential liability. It could end up costing you a boatload of money if you didn't understand the document and you signed something you didn't understand, or it could even potentially open you up to a lawsuit in the future. So you definitely want to make sure that you are getting some legal advice before you sign that document and understand what it is that you're signing. Step number 8, you got a contract, woo! Now you sold the house. Not yet. You're still not done. There's still work to be done. Okay, so now you have your ratified contract. The first step is that you need to hire a title company or a settlement company. You can work with the buyer's title company. They're going to go ahead and put something in the contract, and you can just go ahead and work with them, whoever they select. Or you can choose your own. If you want a recommendation there, I can certainly help. You also need to make sure that you're going through the contract and you're identifying all of the most important dates. You're going to have certain timelines that you need to abide by and also hold the buyer accountable to. And the other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you're making the appropriate legal disclosures. Again, you don't want to open yourself up to a potential lawsuit or something costing you a whole lot of money in the future. So one way that you can work around all of this and make your life a little bit easier is if you want to hire a transaction coordinator. A lot of realtors use them. I use one. I have a great resource if you want to go ahead and hire somebody to help make sure that you're getting through the contract within a reasonable time, and that you're holding everybody accountable to what the contract says, and that you're making the appropriate disclosures. Step number 9 is going to be appraisal and inspections. So within that contract that you agreed to, if your buyer does have financing, they're going to need to secure an appraisal because they can't get the loan unless they have an appraisal in most cases. And this is going to be important because you're going to want to talk to the appraiser. They're going to contact you directly. They're going to come and they're going to do a quick little inspection of the house. It typically takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But you're also going to want to provide to them a list of all the notable features of your house. You should have already had this ready because remember you went through and you beefed up your description, but you want to make sure you have an itemized list for the appraiser so that you're getting the value for the things that you've done to your property. You also want to provide to them a list of comps on how you priced your home to support the value of your contract. You're going to want to provide all of this to the appraiser because if your house doesn't appraise for the value within the contract, now you've got to go back to negotiating again. Another item that you potentially need to negotiate on are home inspection repairs or any type of inspection repairs. So if your contract allowed your purchaser to complete a home inspection, they will potentially come to you with a list of all of these repairs that they're requesting that you do. You want to go back to negotiating in order to secure the best contract within those terms. Now, you have to make sure that if you sign the document and all parties agree, that you follow through with what you say you're going to do. If you're not familiar with negotiating, I highly recommend that you read a great book. It's called The Art of Negotiation, and it's not only great for selling your house by yourself, but it's just great in life in general on knowing how to negotiate and how to end up with a win-win situation. Okay, so that's it. Now you're well on your way to getting your house sold. So if all of this information seems a little overwhelming or you have any more questions, I always want to be a resource to you. You can always reach out to me directly on my cell phone at 703-507-3966. I always am here to help. Again, this is Cassie Luchin with Coppermine Realty, and I'm looking forward to hearing your success stories in selling your home.